for follow-up, if you need to grab any audio or video, or if you just want to check any remarks, exactly how things were said. Senator, so far, Caitlin is the only one who is in our waiting room right now. So since she was on time and you're here, we could go ahead and unmute her, let her identify herself and ask her a question.
The U.S. Department of Labor's Office of Disability Employment Policy. It's called the State Exchange on Employment Disability. And Senator Harkin, I believe you know somebody on our team, Bobby Silverstein. We work with him to help states, assess any gaps they have in disability employment policy and assist them in promoting policies that promote the employment of people with disabilities. So we were just planning on listening in today and kind of on better understanding the needs of North Carolina. So I don't have any questions for me at this time, but I'm excited to be here and listen in.
Well, first of all, thanks for mentioning Bobby Silverstein. You know, actually, Bobby, truth be known, actually wrote most of the Americans with Disabilities Act. He was my staff director for the Disability Policy Subcommittee, and he's really the brains behind a lot of it. You know, it's a sad thing, you know, those of us who were senators, sure, we put our name on it, and I was the chief sponsor and all that kind of stuff. I got all that. But the unsung heroes of this really are, first of all, people in the disability movement that worked for so many years. People like Justin Dart and Judy Heumann and Marka Bristow and Ed Roberts. I could go on and on. But also Bobby Silverstein, who just actually doggedly kept at it, drafting, redrafting, working with different groups, trying to make sure we had a good bipartisan proposal. So I can't say enough good things about Bobby Silverstein. He's still today. I always check with him if I have a question about some aspect of the ADA and how it works. I just call up Bobby because he's got the answers. He just knows this stuff cold.
Fantastic to have in our team. He put together a policy curriculum for us this past year, and we do a Bobby boot camp with him on disability employment training, and it's been a pleasure to learn from him for sure. He's just a wealth of knowledge, but he always speaks so highly of you, and I've actually had the pleasure of seeing you speak a few times, and every time it's been fantastic. So we appreciate your hard work on this topic.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks.
Yeah.
And this is Caitlin, right?
Yes.
Caitlin. And where are you? Are you in North Carolina?
Out of DC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's a federal initiative that's been around for about 5 years now through the Office of Disability Employment Policy. And we've worked with North Carolina a little bit, but, just learning, listening to learn more.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Senator, you had started your remarks in the session previously commending Governor Cooper for leadership on disability employment in North Carolina. Can you tell us some of the things that you think maybe are happening right in North Carolina and maybe some next steps?
I'm sorry, Jill, say that again. What?
Yes, of course. I was saying you had previously referenced in your opening remarks about very positively about Governor Cooper's leadership on this topic in North Carolina. And I was hoping you might be able to talk a little bit about what you think we're doing right and what some good next steps would be.
Well, first of all, I would say I don't know in depth all that's going on in North Carolina. When I first agreed to do this back in September, I think, since that time, I've gone onto the website to just take a look at what's happening in North Carolina and the structure basically of your approach. What I can say is that it looks like that you have taken to heart the changes in WIOA that we put in. I would say, however, that as I looked through your materials on your website, if I could offer a suggestion, maybe a little bit more clarity to parents of children with disabilities who are looking for perhaps employment opportunities or things for their children in school. I would dare say it would be tough if I were a parent of a teenage child, let's say with a disability, and I was interested in what they might be able to do. Let's say they're on an IEP. What is there anything in the summer or after school or something? And to go on the website and try to find something like that is kind of daunting. So the suggestion I might is if you could think about yourself as maybe you are a parent with a kid with a disability, and you're trying to think about what could they do like other kids without disabilities to get after school jobs or volunteering in differently. There's got to be a very easy pathway in your website to go to that and say, hey, we have a program for kids and we have funds for it. I think what I saw is I think you are operating yours like a grant system, if I'm not mistaken, when I looked it up, which is fine. And there might be good grantees that can really do a good job of finding these after school jobs and working with local businesses. I'm just saying that I always think of myself, if I'm a parent and I want to find this out, how do I find it? But I would just say, as someone looking at it and going through it all, it's all there. I think you're doing a really good job of following what we wanted to do in WIOA. I just think it's kind of hard for someone to find it. That's all. That's all I would say.
Well, maybe there would be opportunities for us as the Office of State Human Resources to extend our partnerships with DHHS and vocational rehabilitation to see if we can't message this more effectively.
Yeah, I will say, Jill, that I have tried to check. There was a study done. It was commissioned in 2016 to look at the effects of WIOA, a study done to find out how it's working. It was supposed to be done in 2019. And I'll tell you, I still can't find it. It's a federal study. But I do know from just normal what I do through the Institute that how VR agencies are approaching this vary state by state, which I don't have a problem with. Different states do different things, and out of that can come some good ideas and on different approaches. I don't have a problem with that. But what I found was that a lot of VR agencies are still, how can I say this, are still mostly focused on a person that is without a person with a disability without a job, getting that person into that transition program into a job, but not looking at the youth who aren't even eligible for a full-time job and getting them into these summer school programs and after school programs. Some VRs have done pretty good at that. Others still are kind of on the old track and haven't kind of focused on that. I can't tell you where North Carolina is on that. I just don't know.
Well, it certainly seems to suggest an opportunity for a good partnership.
Yeah.
Caitlin, was there anything else that, since we've got you on the line, that you wanted to mention?
Well, just as you're looking in these programs, I know Washington State works with their VR to host, there's several different summer internship programs through the VR, one of which takes place on a college campus, and it works with students with disabilities. to kind of provide them with not only skills-based training, but also living independently. So that might be something you may want to look into. I'm not sure what North Carolina is doing, around that. But another resource is called CAPE Youth. It's another resource through the Office of Disability Employment Policy. And they recently published studies on youth transition within states and working with VR. So if that's something that you're interested in as well, it's a good resource to visit.
Yeah, you mentioned ODEP. Just Caitlin, just listening to you mention those, I would be remiss if I didn't also say that federal funding to underpin WIOA and to provide more funds for VR throughout the United States funding is inadequate. We need a lot more funding. And we've done studies on this in the past. We know that for every dollar that we put into programs through VR, for example, through state agencies, that enables a person with a disability to live independently and to work, pays itself back over time in more than what the money that is spent for that program. Not only just to mention the quality of life for a person with a disability, but just in pure hard dollars and cents, it is a great investment. And we struggle, and I can tell you we did during all the years I was there. We struggle every time to get adequate funding. We can make a lot of changes with a lot more funding. And I don't want to let the states off the hook either. States need to kind of step up to that too and do more state funding, especially for VR.
All right. Senator, thank you so much for your time. Since we've unfortunately did not have anyone else join us, I think we'll conclude on this note. Again, thank you, sir, so much for your time, for being available for this opportunity, as well as being our keynote at this important event. This was the first time we've done something like this, and we are just so grateful that you were able to join us.
Oh, thank you very much, Ellen. And again, anything, go to the Harkin Institute, anything we can do to be helpful or supportive. And if anybody listening wants to tune in, participate, or be a part of the summit on December 10th, let us know. Okay.
Thank you so much. We'll be happy to share that messaging as well.
All
Take
right.
care, sir.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye now. Thanks.
Bye-bye.